So, right,
We're just so
parting
relaxed here.
tonight. Okay, now this works on 45-degree diagonals. Okay, travelling towards the face, so diagonally forwards. Okay, you can do diagonal backwards for a different effect, but for the purposes of today, we're going to use the diagonal forward method. Okay, there should be 1 inch in depth, so 1 inch from the nape, running at a 45-degree angle. So a good way to get that is to find something that's in the room that's a 90-degree vertical line, and then run your comb, hold your comb at the corner and run it to the other corner, and you'll find yourself a nice 45, right? So, there we have our starting point, okay? What we're then going to do is take 1 inch triangles out of this section, okay? Like this. I'm going to stand there, so if you guys might want to come around, because what you need, your body position to the side, okay? Board in one hand. Okay, now what I tend to do is apply a small amount of product to my board.
Did you cut your brush rounded?
I did cut my brush rounded, well spotted, because I just like the softness of using like slightly rounded edge, and Redken don't provide anything like that, so I modified my brush to be so. Okay, so we're going to start applying the product about 2/3 of the way down the hair. Okay, and we're building up the product on the hair. Don't go in like scraping it on the hair. We're just building up the product gently. I'm using the side of my brush. The reason I'm using the side of the brush is this is to get the correct amount of saturation. If I start using the tip of my brush, I start to tend to remove the colour, and we're not getting it on there thickly enough. The saturation's too low. It's got to be like royal icing. Okay, this product doesn't work 100% if you don't get it on like royal icing. So I'm going to show you. Right, we're going
Is it just to sit on the surface?
Surface.
Yeah.
You can. So that's the idea of all balayages. That the point of the V is that shadow area underneath will stop it looking blobby and awkward. So this technique requires a lot more elbow action than it's not this. This takes off the product. Okay, we've got to be mindful of how we're applying the product. So we're using our elbow and we're building up the colour, and my brush is bouncing off the hair. See that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm painting a V shape. Now this gives me 2 points of light, so that's like 2 highlights, if you will. Okay, you can use other points of light, which I'll go on and show you in a moment. And depending on the result, depending on how close to the scalp you go, if you want it to look like a set of highlights, you obviously want to go in reasonably close to the root. If you want it to look like an ombre, more effect, you need to come lower down the head. Okay, so we're just about getting enough product on there. Okay, here, product. And as I say, it's really got to be quite thick. Okay, so we've got to this point. We now apply. Now, if you don't want heavy saturation underneath, you will obviously need to either keep that clean or remove the product before this point. But I tend to saturate in most cases. We're going to apply the hair to the saturated part of the board, tilting the board towards the floor. Okay? Reason being is that what we don't want to do is this edge of this board create a line underneath the hair, which is very common. You might have done one. You take a section, and then it's not that you've put a line in there, but you've split the section and then there's this line in the hair, and you're like, where did that come from? And make sure it's from the edge of the board generally. Okay, so we're going to tilt the board forward, and then we're going to apply product liberally through to the ends. Now what I really, really like about this product as well is that we don't have to separate with tissue or cotton wool or cling film or anything like that. What we really must make sure is that the product is on thick enough. And there we have it. Okay? So, the way that this then works, as we work up the head, so we'd put another one in here, like this. Okay? but so we can move on and you guys can do a few sections, I'm going to move on to show you how the next row would go. Is that okay with you? Good. Okay, so inch up the head, diagonal section. Put the head cleanly out of the way. This works in a brickwork formation, okay? So our next section, our next row, would want to sit in between this last section. Can you see my point of light, when I paint this up here, is now going to fall into the middle of that section. So I can work out where it's going to live by just holding the hair loosely in the palm of my hand and pulling it down, and then you can just see that it's just going to fall nicely into there. What I don't want to do is start stacking all the sections on top of each other, and just becomes this sort of great big mishmash of colour, and it looks too blobby and harsh. Now, a little hot tip there, I had the head forward and didn't realise I'd done that. So, elevation, I'm just going to talk to you about elevation. The higher you hold it, what happens when we cut hair? The higher we hold it, we cut the line, we hold the hair all the way up here. What would
Softer.
Softer. Same rules apply when we're colouring. Okay? If we elevate the hair up high, we'll get a softer result. So, if you want this to be quite soft in at the root, your elevation needs to be above 90 to the floor. Okay? 0 degrees horizontal, how you want to talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to go up again, slightly elevate my section. I'm going to come in 2/3 of the way down the head and start applying my product, nice and thick. And again, you make sure you're using that elbow to bounce the product onto the hair. You see the hair vibrating? We've got to get enough product on the brush to ensure that we get that royal icing type finish, because if we don't get that, you won't enjoy this product so much.
Or your result.
Or your result. And yeah, vice versa. So tilt the board away, and then heavily saturate. Voila. Okay. So then our next section would live here, like that, and that would sit in between that section there, okay? And you'd work your way forward through the head. Now, let me skip a section or so you guys can actually just get on and do it, because you're hairdressers and I know you're just chomping at the bit. So, next section, 45 degrees, 1 inch above, okay? Next section, 1 inch above, 45 degrees, like this, yeah? And then you're travelling through to the front hairline.